Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bowen, on this evening edition of Fire of Liberty, as we continue to transcend, co-create, and manifest incredible, fantastic paradoxical operations on this very beautiful grand plane of universal love, universal will, and universal light, advocating and continuing the beautiful creation of this grand acceleration of Renaissance on Earth, and this acceleration, of course, of the Golden Age throughout all energy, time, and this is the third episode I did today. The third edition I did today. And this is, of course, one very grand celebration of not only Spectaculum Solis, but also of transcending from a type 49, from a type 40 to a type 41, creating and expanding into a type 42, 43, and a type 44 civilization, creating and expanding and growing and developing ever faster to a type 45, type 46, and a type 47 civilization, and continuing to pretty much embody, be able to continue to harness and then transcend and then evolve type 48, type 49, then all the way past type 50 to a type 51 civilization, able to harness and have the energy output of 10 to the power of 516 watts, which is, of course, quite a lot of energy. But, of course, we are capable, able, and, of course, the unlimitedness of the mind is, of course, very unlimited, because that is the beautiful expansiveness that exists in the unlimitedness of which, of course, is always growing and, of course, always expanding and never ends and has unlimited capacity, which is grand, beautiful, and magnificent. This is a very grand celebration for many, many different reasons. But of course, it's a huge, even more grander than the epic victories, which have, honestly, which are kind of endless on the show. But the epic victories, all the way from just the announcement, for example, I mean, that's a big deal. But the announcement of the Agartha Symposium that is occurring in Garden City, in August, the end of August, which is already a grand, beautiful, fantastic example of unity. I know for a fact that Shirley Dux is the ambassador for Telos, and she's done many videos, and you can check out her videos and her announcement. And I'm pretty sure there's a way that we can also continue this ambassadorship, or her ambassadorship, excuse me. I have a different type of ambassadorship, but I'm not going to go into that yet. The extraordinary amount of progress and the very celebration, of course, that happens on many different episodes, from the reading of the Vedic text to the acknowledgement of the biosphere projects. Not the acknowledgement, but the casting off, the building and the manifesting and the creation of magnificent, and of course the increased, and that's actually very, very, very spectacular as well. The creation of those biospheres, which I described very, very well, grand examples, and they're already existent, for example, made by the Andromeda the Andromeda Society, it's not a society, the Andromeda Council. They have many, many different biospheres, from the size of Pluto, some to the size of Saturn, the size of Jupiter. They're massive, and as I described in previous episodes, Corey Goode has done many. Corey Goode has met with and been and encountered the Sphere Being Alliance, as well as been with the Golden Triangle of Head Beings, as well as many beings, many peaceful beings know, and enlightened beings know about, of course, his interactions with Kare. Kare. fantastic understanding about the correlation and the very important aspects of of course, the studying and the teaching and the learning and the discipline, self-discipline, and of course a lot more. I run into detail about it, about the Vedas, and those texts from that certain book that I mentioned, as well as the very fantastic acceleration of the understanding of just the evolution of spiritual nature from all the way to from things of our which actually I described last year, but anyway, the fantastic nature of our absolutely and ultimately every single being has this capability, which ultimately allows us to not only continue to be free and expand and unite in this universal unity, but of course, like I just said, expand and unite with our space brethren, with our higher dimensional, with everybody, with unity, and then continue to prosper, unite in peace on planet Earth, and continue to transcend into many different realms and higher dimensions, and continue to live in eternal bliss and peace. Just for example, as led by example by Shambhala, and Arcturus, and of course the Andromeda Council, and of course many advanced beings that are, for example, ascended masters that are part of, for example, the Melchizedek order, to the, of course, the type of priesthood that exists, for example, in Telos, to the same type of spiritual and high enlightenment that exists, of course, in Shambhala, which I've already read before. Anyway, the amazing fact of the matter, which, of course, the amazing thing is, one, this can all be researched. Two, this can all be, for example, how a type of this is a great analogy, wow. A type of cognizant understanding and a type of a relationship develops with, for example, a person and a forest, traveling through the wilderness, even through parts in which have not been previously traveled before, and for example, just following inner guidance, or just courage, or just that ability to know where you want to go, is a very fantastic ability and way, and fantastic truth, and ultimately, I guess that, as we call it, determination, dedication to get to where you want to go, especially when of course that drive and that dedication is very important, and one of the many things that is fantastic about that is, for example, that type of practice, that diligence, that resiliency, develops, of course. It heightens the senses for the same way that exercising a muscle heightens the senses. It's the same type of senses that are, which I don't think I've gotten detail into, but it's the same type of senses that are heightened and exercised, of course, with the type of muscles that exist in your body. Cryon talks about it a little bit previously, many years ago, and in the present, as you know, Cryon is Cryon. Also, the communication with the innate, and of course the body, physical body, and then of course the higher self, and of course the exercising of the glands, the muscles, is what I was getting to. The third eye of the pineal gland, of the brain, of the glands working together in the brain, as I described, which ultimately, of course, enhances your entire body, because, of course, everything is connected. And one of the amazing things, as I really reiterate, which is the expansion of, which is what really allows the creation of all these advanced type civilizations, which is able to output this amount of power, energy, wattage, energy harnessing, and the ability to create all these, for example, universes and all these spaces and all these energy modules from the essence of the unlimited capacity of creation, allows us to understand and therefore manifest and therefore create and exercise the very muscles that exude from that very auric body, which is the renaissanceistic, resonancistic feature of the characteristical abilities of a trait that is very functional of the very type of muscles that are exercised, and therefore your supersensory muscles are exercised. So the same type of, for example, working out a bicep or a tricep or a quad muscle. The body, of course, and I say this is known, of course, it's known with research and also known with intuition, and of course, more, of course, for example, that experiments are done, the more that, of course, we come in tune with this, for example, this truth, this reality, and for another example, this spiritual law. And I'm going to, I guess, describe a little bit more of that into detail. So, the human field, of course, is one thing. There's an energy body, energy field beings have, and of course there's the auric field. Now, of course, they're in one another. Of course, the energy field and the energy field is more oval shaped around the human body, and the auric field is more human shaped like the human auric field. Of course, obviously. Excuse me. Of course, this is one other thing, is how we can heal ourselves. For example, if we want to be healed, it's in our... We can heal it. We can heal ourselves, and that's ultimately a very fantastical point and fact about human DNA, about human beings, and about beings in general. And for example, of what I described about the beings, or not even necessarily my description, but even the better description that comes from the contactee himself who visited the Golden Planet. I mean, that's a very, 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 very grand example of, one, how important it is for us to, for one, immediately have that, absolutely at probably one of the top of the list, of one, at least someplace that we need to acknowledge, and that's just something that, of course, we have acknowledged. Visit, see, be in tune of, be aware of, learn about, and recognize. Very, very, very key. That entire planet, those entire beings, it's incredibly important that we learn about them, each other, as, for example, as the masters that we are, and the masters that we want to become. So, and we, of course, it's very, very key, especially not only the Ascended Masters. For example, the Ascended Master in the realm of Arviani, the Ascended Masters that are, of course, throughout the cosmos. And there's many, many Ascended Masters, such as the mother and father of Sharula ducks. For example, just, I guess, a little bit of background. Their Sharula ducks, last time I checked, is almost 300 years old. So, of course, they're, of course, I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're bodies age differently. Therefore, it's clearly possible that our bodies are able to age much healthier, much more prosperous, and much longer. And we're able to, of course, be able to live, of course, more peacefully and more naturally, and, of course, more in an ascended environment, more in a tranquil, peaceful environment, and in a state of creation, as, for example, what is in manifest in the cities of light. So, describing a little bit about the auric field, the beings, the masters, at least, that are on the planet Theuba, the Theubans, those masters were absolutely, literally had an absolute, very bright glow. And, of course, they had mastered levitation, so they could easily levitate. Pretty much, I'm a factual certain that all beings had the capability of levitation. Of course, therefore, saying that we have the ability of levitation. And, of course, that we can be, once again, be, for example, as dense beings, be able to bilocate, and as all those magnificent spiritual examples and teachings that I've already given and have been, of course, explained and of course reiterated, and of course we're more capable and more able and more more able to do more stuff like that. There's so much more to life, and that's the very fantastic things that, of course, comes with creativity. Of course, there's so many more creative things that we can do and live out, so many more different ways that we can live when we can, of course, bilocate and levitate, as many different, as the golden planets describe that they can do, and as many beings can and are able to do. Now, and of course, there's telekinesis, there's telepathy, there's every single type of psychokinesis ability. There's many different abilities that can absolutely be done. And that's the fantastic thing about life, which of course brings a lot more to life. For example, the schooling, let's call it education. The education and the schooling system that gone through by the Shimbalians, the Agarthans, not all of the Agarthans, but in the Galactic Society that's there, which is a grand example of Galactic Society, which we are ultimately creating and therefore living in, because that we are the very example of that, which is the manifestation of the great, grand, golden age renaissance that is but of course the grand, beautiful, transcendental nature ideas that found, accelerate, build, and then therefore manifest, and then continue to manifest and continue on, making this beautiful, peaceful, grand, absolute radiance of clarity, of light, of beautiful essence for all of creation as we continue to expand, as we are in tune with the Creator, as well demonstrated, lived out, and radiated and exuded every single day in a fantastic, beautiful, perfect realm and lifestyle of, for example, of civilizations all over, everywhere. And of course, the unique thing is that we're all one. We are, and we're able to, of course, learn more about, of course, our spiritual, and even just like, that's the fantastic thing, is that with this step we can even more talk openly about these incredible spiritual abilities that we all have. And that's, of course, the grand, beautiful learning nature that is super exciting about life. Now, and that's what ultimately everybody's able to do. And now, what's so beautifully fantastic is that, of course, it's totally, it's like the new normal. It's totally normal, and it's a part of us that's always been. these muscles, in a sense, they only get stronger, of course, because, like I said many times before, the mind is unlimited. There's no limit to the mind. Therefore, there's no limit to, of course, the incredible bond of love, the incredible desire for universal peace, and which already is in existence, and the will for universal peace is manifest and is absolutely, it's peaceful, it's co-creative, it's a very, very magnificent, beautiful, miraculous force of good, emanation of good, and it's a healing, of course, a healing thing. So now, of course, the plant life, which is also very key to understand, is the plants are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of years old, and have still been producing fruit. So now imagine of course, as described before by both Admiral Byrd and by Olaf Jensen, the size of the trees pale in comparison to the redwoods. I mean, they're described as 100 to 120 feet in diameter and miles high into the sky. And so, and it was just, there's so many of them. So of course, now imagine, and then just, actually I say the word imagine, but realize that there is a apple tree that's very, very ancient and is able to make incredibly healthy apples, and these apples are described to be the size of a person's head. That's a very big apple, and it's incredibly healthy and good because Mother Nature has been nurturing and has been growing on its own and has not been interfered with. And that's the other thing, of course, which is already going on, is, of course, the telepathic communication with citizens, and with plants, and of course with the animal kingdom, of course with the insect kingdom, of course with what I already described in the previous edition for, I guess, teaching purposes, or just learning purposes, or just like acceleration of spiritual, like a quick way of understanding, I guess, of learning, like learning capability. For example, how to learn quickly to get off the training wheels onto the regular two wheels, Earth Kingdom. To I guess give that idea aspect of unity, which always has been, always will be, and always is. Of course, universal unity is very, very special and very magnificent. The beautiful truth, of course, is that we can live ultimately forever. We can live forever. Of course, the ultimate amazing truth is, of course, that as many civilizations... Well, let me rephrase that. The beautiful technology that exists is not only there to supplement and accelerate our spiritual evolution, but to, of course, enhance our birth. Let's call it birthing into, of course, rebirth, which is what Renaissance is. And of course, what a drag host is, which is a term I used ages ago. Love that term. And to, therefore, go into, because that's definitely what we can do. We can definitely go into higher densities. And of course, I talked about this before, definitely many different, of course, what are described, I guess, as levels of consciousness, or densities of consciousness, or densities. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, or 11th, and then it goes above and beyond in 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, and etc. Infinitely. infinite amount of dimensions as well. Infinite amounts of, for example, many different types of energies that we can tap into. Into endless energy. For example, the 0 point energy field. For example, the fourth state of matter, described as the fourth state of matter is plasma. To put it in terms of, for example, these terms that we can understand, that of course produces a lot of energy, and of course there's even more spectacular ways to produce energy, and of course even more spectacular ways to travel with this, of course, unified theory, or a unified field of physics, understanding of physics, and of course this understanding of the magnificent, for example, magnetic, for example, electromagnetic connection with our bodies. And that's also one very spectacular thing, going back to that, is the muscles I want to describe, because there's, for example, a lot of, this is also being revealed, and is very, very fascinating about the brain, because one, which is the truth, we're learning a lot more about what the actual functions are of those muscles and those glands that are inside of our brain, and our brainstem, and our cerebellum, and the hypothalamus, the thalamus, the thyroid, to the pituitary gland, to the pineal gland. And they're, for example, they grow, they manifest, they do other things. So to really go into detail, it's incredible how they balance, for example, with one another, and how they secrete and ignite in a very special way. Of course, the pineal gland is, for example, ignites with light, and therefore allows for what I guess I could really summarize as transcendental nature. But of course, it, I guess, allows, what it could be, reiterated really simply, is the understanding of timelessness. That there really is no such thing as time, and especially as reiterated over and over, that Andromedans view time well, let me rephrase it. Let me put it this way. Let's put it this way. Earth... There's no such thing as time. And let me rephrase it also this way. We can... The way Andromedans calculate time, and this is... Well, the way Andromedans calculate time is different from, I guess, the way we calculate time, assuming that they were different. But also, we're aware that we are unified, so therefore. The wonderful thing, marvelous thing, is, of course, that we are... the unique thing of what happens when light hits the glands in our brain. The different colors go to each organ, and then, for example, those organs are healed. And then, of course, for example, those organs become self-sufficient. One unique thing is about was of course forecasted ultimately by the Andromedans, is that the sun is going to become magnetic, and that is going to change our bodies in order to now become crystalline. Of course, as I reiterated many times before, and that was actually a very exciting point. Another very exciting point is that we basically are crystalline at the same, as in terms of bilocation, which is, wow, miraculously true. We are in two places at once. We are both crystalline and carbon-based. Isn't that a fascinating notion? Absolutely fascinating notion. So, once again, it continues to, of course, mark exactly how spectacular and how momentous and how beautiful this incredible, magnificent change is for all of us and all beings and all life. Once again, this is a beautiful way that we can, of course, learn, expand, radiate, learn, expand, radiate, teach, study, learn, study, learn, study, learn, study, learn, study, learn, teach, expand, and radiate, and then continue to learn, of course, in this process of what we call, in this form of evolution. The amazing truth, of course, is that abundance is an absolute truth. as clearly stated, for example, if we were to put it in terms of a type civilization, for example, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4, all the way to type 51, and then moving on, and then, of course, even beyond, we're able to, of course, say that the expansiveness is unlimited, is, of course, there's a whole lot of energy, and positive energy, and positive, amazing intuition, of course, and what I mean by that is, that's just one, for example, I guess I call that a translation, but here's another thing, because the beautiful, fantastic thing is that, as I read before, is of course the sun, our star is a stargate, is a type of portal, and of course there are civilizations inside our sun. There are civilizations, of course the light, and the energy that's given off the greater central sun is incredibly bright, and of course there's I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. This was described by the Theobians. Just how nine planets surround our sun, 9 suns around a central sun, and then there is also, of course, the greater central sun, which is in the center of our galaxy, and then, of course, the limitless and expansiveness of the universe, and of course the endlessness of what exists in the eternal bliss, eternal realms of eternity and co-creative expansiveness. So, back to the muscles exercises. Same thing in how muscle memory. We're able to, for example, be really good at sports because of the muscle memory that we have for those sports, for that muscle movement. Same type of movement, for example, when we're flexing our muscles in our bodies. So same thing as like years ago. I'll give this example. For example, if you and this is true for all. I mean, of course, this is just a learning process, which of course can be accelerated. Always, because of course we're unlimited, and of course there's many different other muscles that we can exercise. You can combine. Of course, you can, for example, make a new sport, combining the ability of levitation with tennis, and therefore you're using a whole new set of muscles. Both the muscles that are just innately able to allow you, for example, to levitate, and the muscles that, of course, you just innately know to use to swing the tennis racket, shoulders, hand-eye coordination, dexterity, wrist, etc. They're common motions, and you can develop yourself on how to, of course, enhance your skill, enhance your speed, enhance your agility, etc., in that, and therefore, once again, enhance your entire body. And it's, of course, yeah. Now, same thing with this very simple example of, for example, meditation, which is a very, very, very grand, healthy thing. The ability to meditate, of course, once again makes you in tune with your body and allows you to be, for example, at peace with yourself, and just very simply simplify. It does many, many other countless wonderful things to your body. It does many things, from enhancing your body, enhancing your breath, enhancing your circulatory, nervous, and digestive system, enhancing every system in your body, enhancing your glands, their ability to regulate itself, including the abilities that monitors your sleep rate, sleep cycle, and the ability to gain energy, ability to sleep, the ability to, of course, have, I guess, self-discipline, self-control. And of course, that advanced level can go infinite amount of ways, of course, because we're unlimited beings. For example, is medical intuitive. You know exactly how you feel. You know exactly what your organs, for example, want to eat or consume, and you know exactly how your body is. You know exactly how you feel. You know exactly what you want, what you feel, or what is occurring in your body. You can basically track blood cells moving through the body, for example. Of course, similar thing with, that's for example one branch of meditation. Same thing with clairvoyance, clairsentience. For example, if that's one of your, for example, natural abilities, then you can enhance that and then develop that and nurture it, perhaps even to something that's just a stronger version of it, or enhance it to something that's even grander. Therefore, turns into something like precognition, or even into memory recall, or telepathy, or telekinesis, etc. And there's, of course, many different forms of ways you can transfer this type of understanding of this ability. You could, for example, go from pyrokinesis to telekinesis. You developed how to use chi to put energy through your body into an object before you learned how to levitate that object, or move that object, or put a field around that object and then move that object, or push or pull, or use the magnetic pull of your body, or the chi balance, however you wish to flow. However you want to describe it. I'm describing it in many different ways, but of course, the ability, the uniqueness. Of course, there's uniqueness, but the unlimitedness of that type of muscle memory, that gland secretion, and that practice of it over and over and over and over and over and over makes you incredibly, for example, talented, incredibly masterful, and therefore incredibly skilled. And even, once again, next level, especially that level of dedication that you practice it with, to it, and that's always key. Of course, the magnificent abilities of, for example, the pineal gland, the glands in your brain, the glands in your body, and the hormone secretion in your body allows you to do magnificent things, of course, with the expanded understanding of your innate and of your body, and being able to do magnificent things with it. Of course, with the awareness of your auric field and your energy body, you can, of course, be self-aware. And that can mean many things. That means a lot of things, of course. I'm condensing a lot of info and knowledge into 2 words, self-aware. But, so, really quickly to summarize this. For example, I love to use the healing example. We have the ability to heal ourselves. And, of course, it's very grand to do this with assistance. But it's also, for example, the assistance with that, as what I mentioned before, and which is a very grand, positive change for especially those, for example, without limbs. You can easily regrow a limb, or even, for example, if you have a so-called incurable disease, which there's, of course, is untrue, because there's no such thing as an incurable disease. Everything can be cured. Every single thing can be cured, and that's the absolute truth. There's no doubt about it. Every single thing can be cured. There's no such thing as disease. There's no such thing as illness. There's no such thing as sickness. Because not only one is everything can be cured, but it can be super healed. The same level of, for example, super immunity that we have now, for example, is not the same if we want to, let's just be absolutely positive and be absolutely truthful and honest with it. there's no such thing as illness. For one, our auric bodies, especially with our, for example, our higher selves, and of course the energy of the heavenly energy, cosmos energy, unity energy, anything you want to call it, just the awareness of higher consciousness. You're able to, one, heal yourself with just the transcendence of knowledge of, for example, what has been called an aha moment. It could be an aha moment, or you can even just be that, for example, that meditation of just, for example, absolute stillness, and you are, for example, in tune with the vibration of your frequency, and for example, can tune yourself to a higher frequency, for example, and even be aware of your body, and then therefore vibrate yourself to a different vibration. For example, vibration, certain I've never been before, but for example, certain, like you can just raise your vibration, and then of course vibrations are accelerated, for example, and of course we always grow and always elevate, always, and that's what we're supposed to do. That's why there's no such thing as any type of illness or anything at all like that. There's unlimited amount of ways. There's way more ways to heal than there are. There's holographic healing. There's nature healing. There's water healing. There's sonic healing. There's nature elemental healing. I meant to say the forces of nature with wind, water, air, clouds, etc. Formations of nature. The animals of nature, animals to the felines, canines, citizens, and citizens, of course. Citizens, no pun intended. Citizens, whales, dolphins, porpoises, even fish and turtles and amphibians, reptiles. Animals, all life is able to be, of course, in tune and balance, and then tune to balance and elevate and radiate, and then be a radiating essence, or like a fluorescent essence, just like the planets, well, and the planets themselves, but just like the planets, the golden planets, of like Theoba, and the Theobans that live there, and all the insect, like the butterflies that are massive and literally look like they have just absolutely gorgeous glowing wings that are it's gorgeously fantastic, and more colors and hues than just absolutely vibrant colors that almost seem to pop out for insects, for hummingbirds, for birds, for animals, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's unlimited, and that's us, And so that's one beautiful thing coming back, Your Honor. Even understanding that this is our universal community, so of course it is our universal community. The universal community that, for example, exists here, for example, in 3D, in this universal community, is beautiful, diverse, miraculous, and heavenly in every single aspect. The amazingness of this unity consciousness, the amazingness of this universal field of love, of course, is one, endless, of course, is eternal bliss, and of course is absolute fantastical peaceful creation here on earth. So another fantastic thing, truth about these vibrancy beings, and of course us, of course the Ethiopians, and of course our bodies, our fields, is that of course we can understand that the absolute cure of everything is we are absolutely healthy, for example. And of course, as already known, we can be in a state of perfect health, and even an elevated state beyond that. So that's ultimately common knowledge, common truth, and fact, actually. And the beauty of that is that we can continue to grow, expand, and create from that world. Of course, this world, from this amazing, fantastic thing, and of course, it's unlimited. Now, another beautiful thing, or I use the word thing a lot, but another beautiful, fantastic moment in understanding is that type of, going back to the meditation, that type of unity consciousness, of course, for example, with astral projection. And of course, it's already known the ability to go to the library of Pathologos, ultimately whenever you want, whenever you just want to meditate, allows you to, go to the library of Pathologos, or go to another realm, or go to another planet, or go to, for example, your own planet, or go to where you want to live, or go to different realms, or visit beings on Earth, or be in contact with whoever you want to be in contact with, or it's literally endless, of course, and this is already known because, for example, it could be done in sleep, and of course it could be done in awakening. And that's the beautiful thing, one about awakened humanity, quote, awakened humanity, end quote. And about the amazing thing about, of course, universal unity and universal peace, and, of course, about the everlasting unity that exists with all these different types of what I just described, spiritual evolution, unity of health evolution, and unity of, for example, consummation or plant evolution, which actually, so I guess, growth evolution and plant evolution and animal evolution, elemental evolution of all creation. Now, I noticed I said evolution, not fixed illusion, for all of those. There's an evolution of health, there's an evolution of healing, evolution of spiritual practice, spiritual elevation, in terms of what we can do psychically, physically, and mentally. And of course, elevation in terms of what we can do healing-wise with our bodies, and of course what we can create, therefore, on our planet, and the foundations that, for example, and then, of course, expand beyond and on to what we can do unlimitedly in our unlimited expansiveness. Now, of course, the beautiful thing is, one very beautiful thing about about the Andromedans, the way, and I believe I already reiterated a little bit on this, but they are born with all the memories that they've ever had before, prior, and, for example, they spend most of their lives, they have the ability to do whatever they want to do in terms of what they would like to learn. So they can learn whatever they want to learn from, for example, whatever type of planet. They can learn whatever type of art, whatever type of science, whatever type of sport that they want to learn. They can become their own type of being that they want to be. They can become whatever they want to be and know and learn and study exactly whatever they want to know. They have access to it from their biosphere alone. So they're incredibly intelligent, and that's an understatement, and incredibly capable, of course, which is also an understatement. And they're, of course, one beautiful example I remember is Of course, they're massive, beautiful, mile-longs, just miles and miles of long, just parks inside these biospheres. And they're huge, absolutely massive parks with trees and streams and lakes and ponds and rivers and birds and squirrel-looking creatures, deer-looking creatures, animals, birds-like creatures, insect-like creatures, because it's Andromedan. Oh, it's on the Andromedan biosphere. And then it's just pristine, quiet, beautiful quiet. And you see groups, circles, but nobody's talking. There's I guess, there's I believe there's hand motions and stuff, but I could be wrong. But there's one thing for certain: there was no talking. It was completely silent, and you could see colors changing where the third eye would be. Different colors flashing. They were. It's a different form of. They were flashing memories, like an entire memory, like a construct, like a fantastic, like light third eye thing. I don't know how to describe it. Put it like this way: memories. Oh, of course they're all telepathic. Every single memory is memory, and then they flash that memory and another memory, and it's continuous, and then they continue on with these limitless. For example, limitless amount. And of course, they can imagine, of course, a concept, an idea, and what's it called? And of course, create memories and create thoughts, and then send those, and then so the amount of information that gets across in a short amount of time, of course, is incredibly expensive, and no words. For example, there's no words at all. It's completely silent. There's groups all over this entire park, huge numbers of beings, but it's just completely silent. It's just the sound of nature. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful spiritual evolution, spiritual enlightenment. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's of course the understanding of endless unity, endless comprehension of just that amazing amount. Of course, understand, like, those teachers that still know everything that they know. They teach those children, and then they, for example, their children, or they teach those pupils, whoever wants to learn, and they are just knowing. They just know it so well, and they just know and know, for example, and they continually learn this beautiful, expansive, unlimited amount of whatever they want to learn. And so, of course, they have. The ship is huge. It's one of them. A small biosphere is approximately the size of Pluto. There's so many marvelous things about these biospheres. It's so exciting, even just talking about it. To go on a biosphere, I, of course, recommend without a doubt. That's exactly a very, extremely positive thing that will happen on planet Earth. That is absolutely spectacular to have and to be on a Andromedan biosphere, and it's so
have a consensus with the universal peace, for example, and that consensus involves getting in touch with a peaceful civilization. Oh my goodness. It's so true, but it's not easy. Yes. Yes, it is. So exciting. Yes, I done it. That's cool. That's epic. That's legendary. That's movement. That's evolution. That's progress. That is absolutely spectacular. And guess what? It's magical because we can say we did it. We can. The amount of miracles that we experience every day. Absolutely true. Absolutely blissful. Absolutely magical. Absolutely transitional into everything is absolutely extraordinarily magical. Safe, as in the opposite of harmful, as in healing, as in nurturing, as in forgiving, as in just caring, just lovey, dovey amazingness. And it comes with the awareness of this truth. And it comes with just that wonderful belief of, for example, magic, believing in yourself, just that magic of which has always been the truth of that amazing, brilliant, golden, diamond shining light that's, for example, in the heart of every one and everything, because it's expanding its aura everywhere. Its aura interacts electromagnetically with thoughts, and we are light beings of light. We are paradise. So I'm incredibly excited. I'm incredibly knowledgeable about the peace and truth of love and light. Incredibly aware of the limitless amounts of healing that are in existence from all different types of healing. There's so many different types. Holographic is just one. There's crystal healing. There's, just think about how eager, these advanced civilizations are even more eager than that might not be true. It might be true. They're probably more eager than I am to show us their civilization, or show them us, or us show them, or, come on, this is so exciting. The fantastic nature of us, of each other, the fantastic nature of just unity and peace, the fantastic light of just absolute, true, fantastic comfort, and acceleration of progress in a most fantastic way that's in accordance also with the fact of that there's timelessness. Timelessness. As in, no such thing as time. As in, it's relative, or as in that, we're eternal beings. Eternal beings of love, eternal beings of light. Eternal beings of greatness. We are majestic. We can look up and see stars, and we can look around and see a fantastic creation of beauty all around us, and we can meditate and or daydream and or go to sleep and or dream or even just dream in real life and dream manifest dreams and believe and think and then float and be weightless like the clouds, or be weightless like weightlessness, or there's no limit. And the fantastic, beautiful truth about, for example, just the healing alone, or just the, it's interesting, but let's use this example, but for the transportation. The transportation alone, for example, of a biosphere, of course, it's able to travel many times faster than the speed of light. So, we already know an aspect of our unlimited ability. For example, there's like, we can literally, for example, manifest from our imagination, from our creation. It's easy. And it's just one of the natural things that we can do. It's just like walking, or talking, or breathing, or thinking, or dancing, or playing a sport, or seeing a play, or having a dream, or living a dream, or watching a movie, or building something, building a house, building a toy, building a blueprint for a magical, beautiful design, building magic, magically creating a design, designing a dream, building a blueprint for a dream that you manifest in sleep, and sleeping the dream of what you would manifest in the blueprint that you would sleep about to sleep, to dream about what you would dream about, what you want to dream about, to manifest in your sleep, and then manifest in your creation that you build about how to create, and then you create, and then you manifest in your dream, and then you continue to create. To use the grand, beautiful positiveness of the fantastical, awesome, unique ability for being one with all of creation, one with one with Venus, one with Mars, one with Meldic, one with Jupiter and Venus and all their moons, all the planets in our solar system, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, Sun, Mercury, all of the wonderful, beautiful beings of marvelous, unique unity, as miraculous as that sounds, but that beautiful, well, the fantastic creation of what is, and that's actually a very fantastical point. Is the civilizations of, so I'm gonna talk about that. Nerubans has been described as, as a type of planet. However, it's also been described as a spaceship. So it's very large, and there are many civilizations living inside of it. And so there's many different types of civilizations, many different cultures. Just for example, like on Earth, there are many different civilizations, many different cultures, many different cultures and stuff. And so, and races. There you go, that's the word. Many different races. I have to, never mind. Anyway, so many different races. I'm so in unity consciousness, sometimes unity consciousness, excuse me. Races, many different races. And, that is something that's amazing. Anyway, many different races in New Reboot, many different cultures. So, and yet they're still, existing. I mean, and, it is true that, for example, they probably have their continents and their groups and, like, their, for example, nations, but they have different races, for example, in those nations, and some races get along better than others, and some get along greater than others, and some get along fantastic, and some are incredibly peaceful, and some are incredibly enlightened, of course, and it's all in Nirubu. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. And it's all there, and it's beautiful, and they, of course, have their, excuse me, oh, goodness gracious, I want to say it's the Universal Nations. I'm pretty sure it could be the Confederation of Planets, an aspect of Ashtar Command. However, that, of course, they're very special unity, and ultimately, for example, they have a bunch of different races, and that's spectacular. For example, I wanted to put a key point there, so that, for example, is that right now, that recognition and that knowledge would allow us to be aware, even more self-aware, and that's incredibly important, because we will be able to find, for example, our unity, which is, of course, kind of the age-old it's ages, but the unity in our differences. I mean, the differences in our unity, or the unity in our differences, because ultimately we are all united. I mean, there's races that are amphibious nations, or excuse me, races. There are races that are feline. There's some that are. I mean, I'm not even trying to be insulting when I describe them. I'm really not. But there's like swamp races and like just swamp things, and then there's like octopus things, octopus races. There's blue avians, bird, like blue, like birds with flexible beaks. That blue avians, bird races. There's multi-legged races. There's humanoid races. There's reptilianoid races. There are insect races that look like ants. Some of them look like. There's many different type of races out there, and of course we have that unique ability, and we can all unify. So that's an amazing truth, and one, of course, is very, very beautiful, and it's very positive, of course. But of course, one of the most powerful. It's been said, one of the most powerful forces in the universe is love, or love is said to be the most powerful force in the universe, and Of course, I will tell the truth. I love you all. I am a being, a part of creation, part of the universe, part of love, part of light, and I love all. I do. So, let's see, what else? We manifest creation, we create peace on earth, and we facilitate, of course, more peace on earth. And we're able to build divinity, and we are divine beings. We're fantastically unique. And we are universally aligned, and we are in light, and we are in love, and we are in beauty, and we are in creation. And this is all fantastically peaceful, positive, honorable, true. So, there's an unlimited amount of positives, right? And we, of course, are enlightened enough to know beautiful amounts of fantastic truth. I love you all. This is your host, Christopher Michael Curtis Bowen, on this evening edition of Fire of Liberty. Grand recap. I did a fantastic teaching and explanation and unity, for example, proclamation, if you want to call it that, which is already been done, but I'll say it again every single day, that we're a united planet of peace, and there is peace on earth, and we are in love with, or we want to, of course, transcend and evolve peacefully, co-creatively, and we have the awareness of advanced healing. We have the awareness of advanced civilizations. We have awareness of advanced evolution for all aspects of life, plants. When we have we have awareness of advancement, how to advance, how well we can advance, how fast we can advance, how easy it is to advance, and how peacefully we always help. For example, the subconscious consciousness is everywhere. So that peaceful understanding consciousness, that peaceful love and light, and there's so many different types of facts and fruitions of love everywhere, and the many different types of cultures and customs and languages and races are all unique, but we're all loving, peaceful, co-creative creations and creators, and I love you all, and we're all manifesting in this beautiful renaissance and golden age, which only gets better and better and better for everything and everybody and everyone, always, eternally. Eternal bliss that we're talking about, right? Love you all. Good evening. Live you all in this eternal timelessness of eternal life, eternal bliss. Love you all eternally.